China, it turned out to be an excellent fighter bomber for Burma. Here, as in other theaters, the 47's legendary ruggedness saved many lives. Meanwhile, as the front moved closer to Japan in the Central Pacific, the P-47 squadrons of the 7th Air Force were in the vanguard of the advance. When the Marines and Army landed in the Marianas Islands in June of 1944, the P-47s of the 318th Fighter Group were operating from the island within just a few days after the invasion of Saipan. Getting to Saipan, however, proved to be a great challenge. Unable to ferry them in from any forward Central Pacific air bases, the 7th Air Force resorted to putting the 318th P-47s on escort carriers. The baby flat tops sailed to the Marianas, laden with the ungainly Thunderbolts. Once off of Saipan, the men of the 318th climbed into their P-47s and catapulted off the narrow carrier decks. Miraculously, not a single P-47 was lost during the operation, and the 318th was soon operating in support of the ground troops from Isley Field on Saipan. It was the only time in history where Thunderbolts were launched from aircraft carriers, and it had been a rousing success. At war's end, the 7th, 13th, and 5th Air Force's P-47 groups were being marshaled around Ishima and Okinawa in preparation for the invasion of Japan. Flying ground attack, combat air patrol, and long-range escort missions right up to the Japanese surrender, the Pacific Thunderbolts gave a solid, if unspectacular, account of themselves. In one of the last great Thunderbolt fights, the 318th Fighter Group managed to shoot down 34 kamikazes off Okinawa in a running 4-hour battle.
The last major production variant of the P-47 was the N model, and about 1,800 were built, and Republic Aviation had designed them specifically to overcome the vast distances involved in the Pacific War. The P-47N had a much greater internal fuel capacity, and they were capable of escorting B-29s all the way to Japan and back from bases on Iwo Jima and Okinawa.
When Japan finally surrendered in August of 1945, the Thunderbolt had become the most heavily produced American fighter of its generation, with over 15,000 being produced. As an escort aircraft and ground attack weapon, the P-47 formed the backbone of the Army Air Force's fighter commands through the tough middle years of World War II. In the post-war years, the P-47 quickly disappeared. By the early 1950s, the once omnipresent P-47 had become as scarce as the dodo bird. As the war faded into memory, the Thunderbolt and its accomplishments were steadily obscured by the P-51 Mustang. For 55 years, the P-47 has lived in the P-51's shadow. In reality, no other fighter contributed more to victory than the Thunderbolt. It did the dirty work, the trying ground attack and close air support missions that held no glory, but saved the lives of countless GIs. In the process, the P-47 Thunderbolt played a key role in the defeat of the Wehrmacht on the Western Front. At the same time, the P-47 helped crush the Luftwaffe in the air and on the ground, setting the stage for total Allied air superiority by D-Day. A workhorse, loved by some, despised by others, the P-47 ranks as one of the greatest aerial weapons of World War II.